Hello, everyone. I know it has been a while since I've posted a video, but I have been on a deployment for the past, 5 or 6 months. And I thought, what a great idea it would be to talk to you guys about what deployments are like and how to get through a deployment. So, first off, when you deploy, you do leave your area of your permanent duty station to go on a special tasker for a specific mission. The mission can be combat related, which is not so much a thing right now because we are not in war at this moment. But it can be combat related, it can be humanitarian related, it could be a humanitarian mission, or it can be training exercises and a diplomatic type of mission where you're training with different host nations and allied countries. So you do not get to take your family members with you when you deploy. And this is arguably the most challenging and difficult part of being on a deployment, especially if you have children and you're married, because you and your family, have to learn how to live without each other for the amount of time that you're deployed. And you have to get creative with keeping in touch, and hopefully you're in an area that has good service. Navy ships, you don't have great service, so that can cause um, problems with communication. So you just have to get creative. Even letter writing, I know we're in the year 2022, but even just writing a letter to your family or receiving letters and care packages do tremendous wonders for your psyche while you are deployed. There are a lot of types of different deployments. You can go on ships, you can be what's called boots on ground, where you're basically on land. And you can be living in a tent, you can be sleeping under the stars, you can be in a hotel room, you can be in a barracks room, air conditioned with running water. It's just, there's so many types of a deployment. When you first go on a deployment, there's different stages, right? So when you're leaving and you first get to where you're going, you're excited because you're going on a mission. You don't really know what to expect. In a lot of cases, you're going to a different country, maybe that you've never been to before. So there is a lot of excitement when you first go on a deployment. When you get to where you're going, you are figuring out where you're at. You're getting your birthing arrangements down. You're finding out where you're going to be eating, where the nearest gym is, if there is a gym. I will say every deployment that I've been on, there was always a gym. Military people have to work out, like we have to keep in some type of shape because we have fitness tests every year, twice a year for the Navy. So we like working out. Well, the majority of us like working out. So every deployment I've been on, there has been a gym. So you're figuring out basically your surroundings and where you're at, and you will get a brief as to the people that live around you, the country, the language they speak, and just their way of life. You'll get a brief before you deploy, and then you'll get a brief when you get into country. As the time moves along and you've been on your deployment for a few months, you get your routine, and then you have sometimes a lot of time. Like you have your primary job, you're doing your mission, but there is a lot of downtime as well. So it's really, really important to fill your time with things that are productive. So what I'd like to talk to you guys about in this video are things that have worked for me to keep me productive so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. All right, so these are the things that I do. So before I even go on a deployment and I'm getting ready to go, I get out a piece of paper and I literally write down some goals that I want to accomplish while I am on deployment. It can be 5 goals that you really want to accomplish, and it's something that you can look forward to also while you're on deployment. So, first thing, set goals. Second thing is pick 5 to 10 books that you want to read while you're on deployment. So a lot of times when you aren't on deployment and you're with your family, you're doing your normal military job, you don't make time because you maybe don't have a lot of time to just read a book that you've wanted to read. So pick 5 to 10 books to take with you or send it to yourself. So when you get there, you have a package already coming to you. Another thing I do is depending on connectivity, and if you do have good Wi Fi where you're getting deployed, is take some type of online Navy class that will help you with your officer record. So the Navy comes out with fiscal year classes, like leadership classes. It's a catalog that you can pick from. A lot of them are classes that you have to attend in person, but there are some that you can take online. So look through that, see if there's anything that would work with your schedule while you're deployed so you can knock out some leadership classes or any other type of Navy classes to help you with your service record. Another thing you can work on is a warfare device. So when you are deployed with a Marine unit or on a ship, for example, you are eligible to study for and board for a warfare device. So it's a pin that you wear on your uniform to show that you have qualified for that device. So, for example, I've been deployed with the Marines. So, there's a book that I have that teaches you everything about the Marines, from their history, their customs, their courtesies, land navigation, the aviation component of the Marines, the ground combat element, so on and so forth. So you're learning about the Marines. You take a test and then you take a board. Some other things that you have to do are do like pistol qualification. You have to do a hike. You have to do a Marine Corps physical fitness test. So that will keep you pretty busy while you're on deployment. So you do all of these things, and then you can actually earn your Fleet Marine Warfare Officer device, which is an amazing thing because not only are you learning about the Marines that you're serving with, but it also gives you some kudos and some bling bling on your uniform. And it shows people like, hey, I did the time to learn about the Marines, and it looks really good on you as an officer. Also, a warfare device if you're on a ship, it's a surface warfare device, and it's the same kind of thing. They have their own set of qualification standards and tests. It's the same thing as far as putting in the work to study, test, and board for that particular device. Another thing to do is take an online college course. Even if you have your bachelor's already, even if you have a master's, take an online college course in a certain subject that you're interested in that will really help to pass the time, especially if you're trying to apply for a master's or a doctorate program. You can maybe take some classes to help set you up for that. Another thing to do is work out and set up a workout routine. A lot of people come back from deployment super jacked with a lot of muscle endurance because they've been working out the entire time. Make it a part of your daily routine. So the biggest tip I have really for getting through a deployment is making a routine and sticking to your routine. Out of all these things I've listed to you today on this video, make a routine of all those things, set some goals, stick to them, and you can really come back from a deployment better than when you left for it. Another thing, last thing, keep in touch with your family. What I'll say about that is it's difficult. We can't get around that. It's difficult when you're miles and miles away from your family and you're not in the same routines. Another thing that makes it difficult is the time difference. So, what has worked for me is setting times when me and my family will talk and setting a time limit on that, because what tends to happen or what can happen is, if you don't set a time, you're just like talking sometimes for hours and hours. It gets silent on the phone, and it can get mundane sometimes. And you're like, okay, babe, I gotta go. I find that the conversations are more productive and it's something to look forward to every single day at a certain time for a certain amount of time. So, yes, that's what I have for you for deployments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.